Hey guys, it's Zach back with another review, this time of the Epomaker Magcore65 Lite. My first time testing an Induction keyboard. I believe their second. They had a larger Magcore as well. This one much more affordable using that same Induction technology. I will say overall for $80, this is a solid offering with a nice footprint, having your arrow keys, this knob as well. And generally, if you hadn't told me this was Induction and I hadn't pulled the keyboard apart, I wouldn't have been able to tell. It would have just felt like another Hall effect magnetic keyboard, which is probably a good thing. Hitting a few quick specs. Again, the board coming in at $80, only in black with their Epomaker core switch. The keycaps being PBT. Standard high performance features like SOCD, DKS, and mod tap. Very low latency with 8K polling. It is also tri-mode, a nice feature at this price point. And this has offline web-based driver, but the driver I used was in the browser, which is fine with me. And there's a quick look at the FR4 plate and the layers in the keyboard. And real quick, the initial force of these switches, 30 plus or minus 10 GF. Total travel 3.5 millimeters. And a life cycle of 80 million, which is pretty much irrelevant as far as I can tell. So coming back to the board itself, an all plastic construction here, pretty chill typing angle by default, 2 levels of adjustable feet here, as well as the rubber feet on the bottom. There is a bit of creaking if I move the board back and forth, and a bit of give in the board. It's not a cheap construction by any means, but not a super solid build nonetheless. The layout here, 65 keys, not trying to save too much space by putting the delete page up and down here on the side. You do get your arrow keys and a nice knob, which is always a plus. I'll say the steps when turning this knob are very light. It's not the most premium feeling knob, but it gets the job done, and I'm definitely glad that it's there. Much better than not having one. With that, we'll move into the keycaps and the switches. And again, of course, don't forget, this is a tri-mode board, but the keycaps, double shot PBT, there are these 3 translucent PC keycaps you get here. There are black replacements should you want the full black look that come in the box. Really nothing too much to write home about here. Slight frosted standard really keycap texture here, nothing premium, nothing cheap, just a keycap, not shine through. The inductive switches, they will not look like anything you've seen before. The stems here, more inside of the casing, extremely stable. Just poked myself there. As you can see, this is the mechanism, sinks into the keyboard, and the proximity to that field there determines the actuation level of the switch. I won't go too much more into the details because honestly to you, it probably doesn't matter. Overall, these switches are admittedly aesthetically pretty ugly, like an old 80s tablecloth, a purple stem, and this white shell. I mean, you're not looking at the switches often, but they aren't the prettiest. The sound here, though, is pretty chill, nothing too loud. A bit clackier, though, in use on the keyboard, not really creamy in any way. As far as the spacebar goes, no issues with these stabilizers here or anywhere else on the keyboard. Very smooth operation, and that's about it for the keycaps and the switches. Let's check out that RGB or the lighting, whatever you want to refer to it as. Probably should just say lighting, not sound like a moron. And here you can see this is the lighting on the brightest. It's more of that sort of ambiance, bleeding glow around the keycaps. The way the colors sort of blend together there, I kind of like. As you can see, a lot brighter if you have those 3 translucent keycaps there. Overall, not the brightest RGB, not the deepest, not the lightest pastel, just sort of a very middle ground. Definitely does not leave you disappointed, but also doesn't pop off out of the keyboard either. But with that, let's jump into a quick sound test. So as you heard there, sort of a lighter, clacky sound coming from the keycaps there. It's not my personal preference when it comes to sound. I much enjoy the standard Epomaker creamy sound, but I know a lot of people that are a fan of that sound. Obviously a bit of a different sound there coming from the translucent keycaps. Overall, not a cheap feeling by any means. The board is very light, but the feeling is not overly cheap, not overly expensive with the plastic shell. Sound a bit clacky. And now let's check out the software, which we're apparently doing through display capture because what the heck, OBS. Anyway, WebDriver loads up a little bit slow, not a big deal. Going to the parts I care about, the lighting brightness here was maxed just to show you that, had the speed around 40%. As far as the quick trigger, rapid trigger settings go, easy quick select all, ran on 1.2 millimeters, had this around 0.4 for my just standard comfortable rapid trigger. And then as far as testing the minimum actuation for like WASD here, it felt pretty responsive. There were no like accidental actuations. I will say one thing about the rapid trigger though, there were some times in game where I would have A and D, for example, strafing back and forth. I felt like some of those rapid rapid, triggers wouldn't trigger, basically. I tested this in typing and just like spamming the keys as well, and there were some times where I would press down a little bit multiple times without bringing all the way up to the top, and it just wouldn't get that second rapid trigger. So a little bit of a concern there as far as the absolute tip-top perfect performance, although I would say generally the board feels very responsive as far as the actuation points go and a majority of the performance, but just a small blip there I did want to call out. Beyond that, of course, you have SOCD here. I had it at A and D. They give you the 4 options for how to configure that, and you can get the sensitivity all the way down to the lowest as well, 0.01. Again, that's slight caveat. And then beside that, tested the board on the latest firmware, version 1.43. So that being said, one of my overall impressions of the Epomaker Magcore65 Lite, it's probably not a keyboard I'll be using going forward. I'm very much into aluminum cases these days. Don't really need the wireless functionality, and like sound profile is not really my favorite. It's not a bad sound profile at all, just like a standard plasticky, clacky sound. The board doesn't feel overly cheap. I think it's probably worth the price at $80 with that small layout, the nice knob here, and I do personally kind of like these translucent keycaps here. A nice little touch like the HE80. I'm sure you might not like that, but again, those solid keycaps to match the rest of the board are in the box. One more thing I don't remember if I harped on enough, they do say it's gasket mounted, but to my testing, there really isn't much give at all here when you press down on the keys. Very stable with those keycaps, which is very nice. Not a soft typing experience, which I'm used to on Epomaker boards. So if you're looking for a more stable, sort of like, I guess, rigid gaming experience, this does deliver that. It's not rough or hard by any means, but like it's not a soft gasket mount. As far as the Induction goes on Epomaker, I'll be honest, no real reason I don't think to go Induction, because the keyboard is not expensive, but not overly affordable. You do get all the performance you're looking for from Hall Effect. So generally, I would say you probably want to stick with those Hall Effect keyboards, but if you run across an Induction keyboard you like at a good price, probably wouldn't really discourage you from grabbing that either. With that, please subscribe and like if you've enjoyed the video. You can find me on X at DashDeck. Check out the Mousecast podcast as well as my peripheral Discord server. And with that, we'll see you.